You have children. You want them to have positive, healthy influences. So what's the big idea about having them watch video games? Dr. Webster is here to share some ideas and thoughts with us today.
It's not so much that I don't want them to watch these things. I just want parents to start thinking through the cultural influences that these games, the effects that these games and television shows will have on the children.
Now, I've read some of your materials, and it seems to me that you have it in for Disney.
It's not that I have it in for Disney. I understand how you could see it that way, but what I really disagree with is I disagree with the whole concept of the pirates and princesses. And it's the real message of the pirates and princesses that I would like parents to pay more attention to, because I think it's not necessarily what we really want to be teaching our children to aspire to.
Now, the pirates and princesses, does that affect their social behavior or their actual learning behavior?
Yes, well, I believe it affects all of their behaviors. I believe that let's take the girl. The girl is watching movies about princesses and playing princesses and dressing up as princesses. The princesses are ubiquitous in our culture. What is really the princess teaching the child? The princess has no sense of personal accomplishment. She's only as good as her father is. She doesn't really have to be anything in herself. She needs to be kissed, saved, married by a prince.
So if she's going to have a prince, she's going to have to give up some of her ambitions.
Exactly. She's going to have to give up any of her ambition, any of her sense of accomplishment, any of her sense of personal power. She becomes the cipher, beautiful, thin person who's related to someone important. But are we actually raising our boys to be princes? Princes who are going to be upright, good standing citizens, good dads. No, we're raising the boys to be pirates. Despicable, violent outlaws whose lives of raping and pillaging is glorified on the big screen. So now we've got this boy being raised as a pirate or believing that that is reality. We've got a girl being raised as a princess believing that her reality. We are setting our culture up for a huge disappointment when they realize that the two will never meet. He's not going to kiss her and marry her and save her. He's probably going to violate her and get away with it.
Well, I am beginning to have a sense of what you're saying. It's touching me very deeply. My concern is, being the mother of a teenager, those are manly characteristics that I feel is something that I'm trying to raise my son to aspire to. But at the same time, I'm understanding what you're saying about the prince. So is there a point in their lives that they transcend those in terms of their imaginatory behavior as they grow up?
Well, yes. The truth of the matter is, and what studies have shown, is that the children will take in those cultural influences as reality. They will see those as reality. So they will perceive their world in terms of their pirate or princessness, for lack of a better term. So I think that it doesn't really come a point that they take these in and this becomes reality to them. So I'm just asking people to think through this game that seems this innocuous game. I call it cultural seepage. I believe that there's a certain amount of cultural seepage that we allow into our homes. As the parents, we allow that in our homes. And my contention is, just as a parent, just think it through a little further. Is this really what you want your child to grow up to be?
Now, if this is entertainment, how does a parent see it and view it as entertainment, but they raise their children to make conscious choices? So that influence that you're saying is, and I'm closely with you now. That influence that they can choose from what they've seen, that becomes not who they are.
I don't think that they will be able to see the difference between the reality that they perceive on television and in major films and in the culture as not reality, because it not only exists on television and in films, but it exists in our culture.
Do you think that as parents, what would be our first thing to do if, and because I am starting to see this as caretakers of 2 children under my tutelage, what would I do as a parent?
I would think it through. I'm not asking you to radically change your lifestyle. I'm not asking you stop going to movies. We choose not to do movies in our home. We choose not to have television in our home. That's our choice. If it's something that you already have, I'm not asking for you to make a radical shift, but what I am saying is think through these cultural influences. Go a little deeper and ask yourself, is this what I want my child to aspire to? Is this a good role model for my child?
I tell you, Dr. Webster, you have, I am floored. You have influenced me, and I know that all of my viewers are feeling the same thing right now and wanting the best for their children. Thank you so much for opening our eyes to the importance of how we take this for granted. Wouldn't you say we've taken this for granted?
Yes, and thank you so much, Simone, for having me in.
Thank you.
All right.